time now to get into our discussion zone. It's all about drug abuse and the illicit trafficking of drugs. I mean, this is a big issue. Every now and then, I mean, at the point, there was a time here in our base Ghana when, what do you call it, tramadol was the big topic where everybody, like most of the youth, you find them just gallivanting around. They have this. I don't know if they learned that from these music videos that they've been watching. Hafiz, I don't know, this red big, yeah, and all you see is they double it up. Sometimes they just, I don't know if it's swag or what.
Yeah.
But I mean, Saturday is a day that the whole world will be marking against drug abuse and illicit trafficking. Unfortunately, we'll not be here, so we need to, bring that conversation back. I think I noticed a trend that it rises and then it falls. Conversations around that space. Yeah, there's a point. Hey, that its peak. Let's talk about drug abuse, and then it descends again. And then when something happens, hey, because of drug abuse, so let's start the conversation. But I don't think this is something that we should, we should talk about occasionally. I think it's something that we need to do, most of the times, because some youth, I mean, they tell you, Charlie, I can't sleep. I don't want to sleep at night because I'm busy working, and I need energy. So yeah, Hafiz.
Yes.
Drug abuse.
Yeah, you mentioned how we talk about it. One time it is something we talk about on our airwaves, and the next minute it's all quiet. And it goes a long way to show just how reactionary we are in our approach in dealing with this problem.
True.
But anyway, the conversation surrounding drug abuse is one that we've had in various capacities at our various levels of education. I'm sure it's one conversation you've had on one platform or the other in one way. Now, when you talk drug abuse, a lot of the time the thinking is, the use of illegal drugs.
Yeah.
But drug abuse is so huge that it also encompasses the misuse of prescription drugs.
Yeah.
Yes. So you have, like you mentioned, tramadol. Okay, it's a prescription drug.
Yeah.
But every now and then we have issues with it. Yes, and every now and then too, you have people crashing pills to snort and everything. So these are drugs that you find people using in one way or the other to do stuff that you wouldn't even understand. But then when you even talk drugs and the abuse of it, people would, in these parts, we are talking cocaine, weed,
marijuana.
And even with marijuana, I think
codeine. Well, in some places it's legal.
It's legal. So I think it's when you talk about the drugs, it's not so huge. But go out into the United States and all these parts that you have drugs being an issue, and you talk about speed. You are talking crack. You are talking Molly. You are talking crystal. You are talking meth. You are talking lean.
Different varieties.
So many.
Oh dear.
So you have all these things on the streets, and that's the thing. And you ask yourself, why do people do this to themselves? Why would anybody want to take these things? Because, I mean, we watch TV and we see the effects.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with it. So for reasons of time, I'm not even going to go into that. But we see people and and you ask yourself, why? Why would you even do this to yourselves? And one of the reasons you can see people, the feel-good factor. Yes, people just looking to feel good. And according to certain studies, the part of your brain that tells you to do this or that or not to do this, that basically regulates your moral compass, is not fully developed until you are 25 and over. So technically speaking, when you are 20 and your parents tell you are an adult, act like one, you can tell them you are not.
Right.
But exactly. So what it means is that if you start using drugs early or abusing drugs very early,
at an early stage,
chances are you're going to get addicted. Yes, later in life. Well, we find that some also take these drugs to escape the difficulty of the reality of their situation.
Yeah.
So they just want to numb
pressure
the pain.
in life and all.
Exactly. Yes. Some take them. Some take tend to drugs because they want to perform either at the workplace or in school. The pressure is getting to them, so they really want to be able to perform even better for one reason or the other. How the drugs work on them, they decide. There is this other category that is also very curious. Yes, and we are talking teenagers.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
and they are very impressionable, and that's why I can also go ahead to blame the glorification of drugs in pop culture. Yes,
Yeah.
you mentioned of music videos.
Music videos, huh?
Yes, because kids at that level are very impressionable. They see things and they want
They
to
want to
copy.
imitate
They
the
imitate.
flashy lifestyle. When you
Yes,
have that red cup.
even in the lyrics of the songs that we hear.
Yeah.
I mean, they glorify all these drugs, and you're like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
One can actually have a title of a song and name it
Oh
after
yeah,
a
yeah,
drug.
yeah.
You know?
Look, and speaking of lean or codeine that you mentioned,
Mm.
codeine, I think, when you talk about lean, now 33% of rap songs. Now hear this: 33% of rap songs
Hmm.
that reached the top 10 of Billboard Hot 100 charts
Contain.
in 2017 mentioned that drug, mentioned lean,
So
codeine.
are we? We have so one. One would
No,
say.
you see, when you talk about lean, it's a homemade concoction of codeine.
Okay.
Yes, so exactly. So that's what they are abusing. And not just that, you're talking about prescription drugs such as Percocet. I didn't even know there was something called Percocet until I listened to this guy, Future. Mask Off.
Maskov. Yes.
So,
Yes.
yes.
They even know more than some of the guys behind the counter. I'm
Percocets,
telling you.
Percocets, and I think in the track he's talking about Percocets mixed with Molly and whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, listening to songs like this, imagine getting exposed to tracks like this.
And you'd want to give it a try. Let me try what this
You are,
can do.
you are young and
It's terrible.
yes,
It's
trying to live
terrible.
the life
Yeah.
anyways. Yes,
Yeah.
and so you get addicted and
Mm.
whatnot. And the interesting thing is, I mean, once you get addicted, there's no treatment because all you can do is manage it. So it's not a condition you can treat,
But what
and
happened?
that's why a lot
Mm.
of them tend to relapse. So
So it isn't the relapse the treatment?
no, you are managing it
Mm.
because at the end of the day, some throughout their lives, that's just it. At some point, they can relapse. Some would never, but some
Wow.
would at
Wow.
some point.
Wow.
Yeah. So the
Very worrying.
treatment changes with the sort of life you live,
You
and that's
live.
why they tell you that if I mean you need to know your triggers.
Mm.
So when you're undergoing treatment, if it's a person
Mm.
that's exposed you to drug use, avoid them. That's your trigger.
Mm.
If it could be a place
Right.
that you frequented,
Abstain.
don't go there. That's your trigger. It
Mm.
could be a smell. It
Could be a movie.
anything.
Anything that
Exactly.
triggers.
So,
Right.
no.
Right. The show was Africa Daily on Africa Global Radio. Interesting topic right here. Drug abuse, illicit trafficking of drugs, and how teenagers are indiscriminately actually abusing drugs. That's one part of the conversation. And then again, the part where you walk up to a counter and you just mention any drug because you've heard someone mention it before and they took it and actually helped them or healed their headache or whatever body pains they must have been experiencing at that time, and and you also using a prescribed one but abusing it at the same time. It's a drug that you're supposed to take, but you're overusing it. That's also another topic. So when we talk about drug abuse, it's not just about the marijuana, the codeine, the whatever, and all that. No. There is more to it. The conversation is so huge and broad. Let me get to Epi and find out what's her take today as we discuss drug abuse and unlawful trafficking. Epi. Yeah, drop it.
Drop her.
The bar.
Okay.
Drop it like it's hot.
Okay. So, I think Hafiz has said a lot about it and stuff, but for some of these people who use it, yeah, they have their various reasons, like Hafiz has already mentioned. For most of the rappers, to actually be able to be on stage and perform,
Right.
for that number of hours, for that time, and still be hyper, it's something
Still
they
have
need
the
to put
energy.
themselves in a certain mood for.
Right.
So that's where they mix the codeine, which
Mm.
initially was prescribed. It's not something you buy over the counter. Because
Okay.
it's used to treat cough,
Cough,
and
yeah.
the rest. It's basically like a
Cough syrup.
Yes, but it
Okay.
was strong
Right.
and it's purple. So they mix just to take a little bit, but then these guys mix it.
Mm.
And it contains this thing that keeps you in a certain hazy state.
Mm.
So you're able to go for long hours
Yeah.
in a setting state. So then they mix it with the Sprite, and then they have the energy.
Mm.
They don't feel tired. It's not like you're not tired. You get tired, but then it's like it numbs your cells, the nerves, so you don't actually feel that you're tired.
Right.
So they're able to keep going for long hours, and that's how come they're able to, they stay on it, and it's addictive. It's addictive.
Worrying.
So it becomes a
Worrying.
problem when they want to stop.
Okay.
I feel that drug abuse, like Hafiz said, I wasn't even going to look at the whole illegal drugs, because I mean we all abuse drugs. Someone can take para, like, okay, meds in a way. I mean, even I don't know if
Well,
you
when
guys
you say
read.
drugs,
No, when I say drugs, sorry, I mean meds.
well,
like
in
even
the,
paracetamol.
in the U.S.,
Someone can take
hold on.
like
Let's
4 or
just-
5
let's
tablets.
just get this. Let's just get this clear. In the U.S., Hafiz, they'll correct me if I'm wrong. Drug is the same as medicine. Is that correct?
No,
No.
we say medicine.
We say what? Medicine.
And they say
Drug. We won't say drug in the US. They are taking something else. So we say drugs here.
We
but
say
they
drug.
medicine.
Exactly. So so they say medicine. We say what?
have you taken your drugs?
Exactly. We're gonna say that, and it sounds some way
You go
to
to-
someone else.
Talk to an American and say, "Have you taken your drugs?"
It's
They will
like,
look at
what
you
do you
funny.
Right. Anyway.
I
So
mean,
so
okay,
yeah.
so I'm talking of medicine, like
slash
I mean,
drugs slash what?
Huh?
Drugs.
No, don't bring the drugs.
Okay,
Please,
medicine.
don't bring the drugs.
I want to be on the safer side.
No more medicine.
All right.
The
Prescribed by a doctor,
yes,
a physician.
I mean, right now, how many people actually go take a prescription to go and buy paracetamol?
Yeah,
or
that's.
Evigene or
I agree with
Facilitate
Epi
or something. How
to
many?
say that we abuse, the use
those-
of medicine.
I mean, I have a headache. Just pop one. I have a headache. Just pop one. So people just take it because they feel like it solves the problem for them. And sometimes we feel like, okay, I was giving this medicine when I had this problem. So the next minute I feel like that.
I go for the
I don't
same
even bother to
medicine.
go. I just go for the same
Yeah,
medicine.
I'm a
And keep drinking it till
Yeah,
it's done,
I
and then
know
I know that
most.
I'm gonna feel good. So even if a friend asks me, "Oh, my head. Oh, have you tried this before? Drink it this way. Before I realize we're actually self-medicating, and we end up abusing most of these meds. And
Right.
some of the people don't even read
Yeah.
the label, because there's this
The
medicine that the
instruction-
instructions. Yeah, they tells you that you shouldn't take more than 4 tablets in the whole day. And they give the number of hours apart within which, if you feel like I took one, it's not working, wait till this hour, this number of time expires before you take another one again. But we just go for it. I feel we should all become conscious about it.
There's
People prefer aspirin to paracetamol,
Yeah.
or most of all these caffeine para that helps. Aspirin because it comes out of the body, para because it stays in your body. Most of all these
Right.
meds we take, if you don't know how the end result is, that's why people want to stay with the natural remedy. Some of them end up staying in your body. The
Okay.
components pile up in your body. So then years down the line, you realize you have different ailments and different things that you're just wondering,
And that's
where
what
did it
it's
come from?
causing.
Exactly. So I feel we should be very careful when we're looking at medicine, not drugs. Medicine.
Okay, drug abuse and
Why are
illicit
you laughing?
trafficking continue to have a profoundly negative impacts on development and stability across the world. Now, the billions of dollars generated from illicit drugs fuel terrorist activities and abet other crimes such as human trafficking and the smuggling of arms and people. Illicit drugs and related criminal networks undermine the rule of law, and the impunity with which they go about their business causes tremendous fear and sows delusions with governance at all levels. Let me bring in Mommy here. I mean, we've you listen to hip hop music, Juice WRLD,
Yeah, I know.
you know Mac
Juice.
Miller,
Oh, it's so unfortunate. I mean, even talk of Whitney Houston.
Whitney,
Her daughter, Bobby Christina.
Bobby.
I mean,
the one that actually got to me was Juices. Like he had a song with Future. I listened to that song yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, and I the content was like, I need more. I can't stay without it. I need more. Like, you need more.
have you listened to his Wishing Well?
I haven't listened to that.
You should listen to the Wishing Well. I mean, in the Wishing Well, he talks about his addiction
And
how he knows the drugs are going to kill him,
but
but
he can't stop.
stop. There's this line I'm trying to remember. He talks about I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the drugs.
Right.
But I'll also not be here because of the drugs, like something
same
along
drugs.
those lines.
But
So it's
what-
like, usually when we talk about drug abuse,
Ah.
and I'm not talking about abusing over the counter medicines like para and then
Right.
taking them in overdose course. You're trying to let the headache go away fast. I'm talking about these cocaines, all of these
The hard
meds.
drugs generally.
When we talk about drug abuse, we're always talking about and why it's not good, but we don't talk about the why. Why are people doing all of these things? Why are people snorting? Why are they swallowing? Why are they trying to get high. I mean, there was a time.
Injecting themselves
There was
and
a
all.
time where my mom was telling me about how people, when they can't get access to tramadol, they sniff shoemaker glue.
Yeah. I know of that. I know of that one. I know of that one. Yeah. I've seen that one before. Even in my there's this other one called Petidin. I have an uncle who got addicted to it. Almost got to the. I mean, we almost lost that guy because we got into his room one day and we saw him pointing a gun at his head. How he even got the gun, we don't know. I'm serious. Yeah, Petidin. It's serious, huh?
So I think what we should be looking at more is the why. Why is this person doing what they're doing? Most people are depressed. Most people are anxious. Most people are going through things they rather not talk about.
Right.
So then, when you take those things and you're in that state, it's like at that point in time, you don't feel anything.
Right.
So I think we should focus more on treating the why. In as much as drugs are illegal in certain states, there are people trafficking them.
Yeah.
I think that is the problem of the law. But what we as community people can do is to talk about the why people are abusing these drugs.
Okay.
Because there's so many. The world has become a hard place, especially with the pandemic going on, and especially with unemployment on the rise, especially with so many things happening in the world. People are going through things they would rather not talk about.
Okay, so let's find out the why, and that's my maze. I think it's a very important, point, finding out the why.
Because if we are treating the why, then no, if let's say I'm depressed, I get somebody to talk to, or I'm getting help for it, then I do not need these drugs. So I'm not going to purchase them from the people who are selling.
Okay, that's a good point. But how about people who look up to others? Like we say, there's music videos and whatnot. I think that's if you ask me, that's one of the most influential bits of it all. It plays a major role.
I think that would have we have media commissions, and we have there's this one in Ghana.
What, NCA?
NCA, where I remember a time where they said they were going to ban these celebs from advertising alcohol, and one artist in Ghana here went on a spree. He went on a social media spree because why are we banning somebody that children look up to from advertising alcohol?
If they're looking up to you, what are you teaching them? That's the question.
I think that was the whole point. These kids look up to these people. You ask somebody, oh, who do you want to be like? I want to be like this actress. I want to be like that. I mean, when you watch TV3 Talented Kids, I think
most of the guys there.
Last season or last season, there was this kid, this very small kid who called herself Shataberry.
Yeah.
Because she's looking up to a dancer who is here in our base that she wants to be like when she grows up. And this kid watches TV and this kid sees you advertising alcohol. So in their eyes, the person, my role model, is doing it. I can also do it. It could be a good thing.
Generally.
Media has evolved. Okay. So you don't necessarily need TV to be,
influenced.
Okay. You get your
social
smartphone device, 5 megabytes data, and you're good to go. Okay, you can practically search whatever it is you want to find. Okay, watch whatever video you want to watch. So, policing the internet has become very difficult, or the media space generally has changed. Okay, so I think it's more education rather than looking at censorship. The media commission, they can do very little, to be honest.
I think I'll kudos to, what do you call it, Olamide. I remember there was this time I dropped his song Science Student, and you said it was banned in Nigeria. Now you watch that video closely, it's a campaign against drug abuse. I was surprised when they said they were banning that song. I was surprised. Today I even forgot, I should have dropped that.
There are so many songs that influence negatively.
Look at how huge Olamide is in Nigeria. His following. And if he actually telling his fans not to do this, I think it's a plus for me. In as much as you see him in music videos, holding the cigars and the liquors and what have you, at least he has also played his part. The fact that you see me in music video doesn't mean that's a life I live. We see Sark holding the cigars and everything, but in reality he tells you that he doesn't smoke. Okay, so there's a whole new, line of conversation.
But I have a problem with that. If you don't smoke, why are you holding it?
He's a performer.
He performs with a cigar.
He's a performer. He entertains.
He's
That's his job.
That's a music video, and
Exactly.
there's a lot of creativity that goes into it.
So
You can't
what's
But
is
I
the
would
cigar
say-
portraying?
I would say,
cool.
and don't forget.
I mean,
but
artists
don't
can look
forget-
cool
but
without
don't-
all of these things.
But let's not forget, it's not entirely, illegal or unhealthy, like one would say, because there's a place in the world that's marijuana has been legalized.
But
And
let's not go there.
Scientific,
It's-
you get so
You
let's
know, marijuana is an herb.
what did you say? Herb. Did
Yes.
you just call it like the way the Jamaicans call it? Call it a herb. Herb. Do the herb. Stop the herb. Before you get there, mommy, let's just slide a bit through this conversation as well. And the issue of illicit drugs, it says here that illicit drugs and related criminal networks undermine the rule of law. Now it says billions of dollars generated from illicit drugs fuel terrorist activities and abet other crimes such as human trafficking and the smuggling of arms and people. Hafiz,
Yeah.
I think to elevate the conversation a bit from I think aside the drug the abusing of the ones we have, the codeine and what have you, there's a bigger picture to drug abuse and illicit trafficking as well,
Yeah.
fueling terrorist activities and even human trafficking and all of that.
Yeah, I mean it's a bigger problem, especially in these parts in Africa. Unfortunately, it's one of the very big problems that we have.
Right.
Of course, the idea is to project Africa, but unfortunately, this is a conversation that doesn't exactly do us favors. Because if you watch our position in rankings in terms of how we are doing against the fight, it's not so good. Because currently Africa occupies the second position worldwide in the
The
trafficking.
entire continent.
Yes, in the world.
I mean the world rather.
Occupies
the entire
second
continent
position,
of Africa
yes.
in the world.
Yes, occupies the second position worldwide in the trafficking and consumption of illegal drugs.
Wow.
Yes, so in Africa we are talking some 28 million drug users in Africa. Yes, we are second to United States and Canada. We are talking some 32 million over there. So it's not a good look.
It's worrying.
Yes, and if you are talking numbers still, now according to the World Drug Report released in the released by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, that is the UNODC. Now around 269 million people used drugs worldwide in 2018. So the report was compiled during the periods of 2000 and 2018. So it was released last
So when
year.
we talk about drugs,
Yes,
we're talking about
269 million people, illegal drugs.
illegal drugs.
Yes,
right.
now while over 35 million people suffer from drug use disorders. Now cannabis was the most used worldwide in 2018 with an estimated 192 million users.
Cannabis, aka marijuana.
Yeah.
AKA what? The herb.
Yeah.
I mean, said what? Herb. Good one.
Also, opioids. That remains the most harmful, with total number of deaths due to opioids disorders up to about 71% over the past decade. Yes, and so these are the disturbing
dear.
statistics. And to make matters worse, well, we are talking drug abuse among is very high among developing countries, and it has risen rapidly. So, like I mentioned, in the case of Africa, Africa occupies second. Now, according to the UN statistics, they are talking about 37,000 people die annually in Africa from disease associated with
57,000 people
die
annually.
Annually,
Wow.
yes. And they are attributing it to a lot of things. Issues of political instability in certain places. Recently, we've seen Mali, we're seeing Burkina Faso now. So, and because of the porous borders, so what it means is that it makes it
easy
a haven for drug traffickers to be able to
penetrate
yes,
and
to move into the European market as well. So they use these routes, and in West Africa we've seen Liberia and Guinea being hotspots.
Yeah.
In East Africa there's Kenya, the port of Mombasa. Yes, and with the Kenyan situation it's even more worrying. Now here according to the United Nations 2018 World Report, still on the World Report, Drug World Report, that is, that Kenyans between ages 18 and 24 use cocaine, heroin, and prescription drugs at a rate 3 times higher than those aged 36 and older.
there's a problem there.
So in Kenya, it's even more.
There's a
worrying
big
anyway,
problem.
so-
But like I said, I don't blame these youngins. I blame whatever we see, because we get influenced by what we see the most. you know.
No, but can you also talk about I mean, just recently we were talking about the unemployment issue in Africa. Like Mami said, people are going through it.
Yeah.
Okay, you wake up and you don't exactly have anything to do. Okay, the Bible says what the devil finds work for the idle hands.
The idle hands, right?
So you wake up and all you do is watch music videos, see all these things happen. That's all you have to do. Maybe. Well, we can start the conversation from there.
Yeah.
If you had something to do and busy, these are things that would not cross your mind anyway.
Right. Okay, let me bring in Epifania. But recently, we talked about the reports by the NCCA here in our base, talking about unemployment and insecurity and what have you. And this is a bit tied to that story. Epi, pick your final words. It's actually a problematic story or issue here in most parts of Africa. And I believe our leaders are doing their best, but, still, there is that,
Really?
that conversation going. I want to believe so. That I want to believe.
Yeah, if you tell me you want to believe, or if you say you believe, it means like you know.
I don't know. I believe. I just want to believe.
I feel like things are mounting up in the system, and there's no smoke without fire.
Right.
Like they say, and it's coming from somewhere. You understand me? The leaders need to actually assess the nations properly, and then see what is going to work. If the youth, most of them, if these children are not in school, and they are home, and I mean the youth don't have jobs to do, and they are already being inspired by people who are actually portraying such things, and they literally don't even have the means to live the lives these people live. These people fall sick, they can have the money to actually take care of themselves. But how many of these youth walking on the street without jobs can actually do that?
Right.
It becomes like a luxury that is killing you, which you can't afford. I feel that government has to put in place plans that actually look at all of these things. And for children, counseling is good for school. Some of them wish they had people they could talk to. But then you go and talk to your friend. The first thing is, like, before you realize that they are judging you, or then they are following you to do what you're doing.
Or encouraging you.
Exactly. So I feel that the rights, they should set up such centers. And also, this thing is a lot of work and planning, But then also parents can do their bit at home.
Okay.
Half of the time, don't just avoid the topic of it. And some parents just approach it like it's a battlefield.
Right.
If I see you smoking, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So even if the child is smoking, you wouldn't know. You don't detect.
Course,
you can't tell. And they know that, my house is a no smoking area. So
that.
they'll do it outside. But if there's that relationship, sometimes they just need somebody they can reach out to.
Right.
And then also, if there's going to be a guided way to look at things, it's going to help.
Talking about, just trying to meet the kid or whoever it is with an iron fist. Recently, a lady in my area says she used to smell her son's mouth whenever he's asleep, because the boy has been demonstrating he's been exhibiting certain characteristics, and she's not sure. Yeah, but she says she goes to she speaks like if the boy has actually that's the only way, because she confronted him and asked him, and he said no. And if you see that, if you take note of the set of friends that he rolls with, there is no way, that will not happen. Trust me. And he said he has not been doing it. So anytime he's sleeping, any night he comes, she goes to smell his mouth. That's what she said. And yeah, so let me just take this quick one. Central America, for example, faces rising levels of violence fueled by transnational organized crime and drug trafficking. The region is now home to be the highest homicide rates in the world. Central America. Very, very worrying. Development in Afghanistan is being hindered by the highest rate of opiate prevalence in the world. In the parts of Myanmar, farmers are trapped by food insecurity, compelling them to grow poppies as a cash crop. What is a poppy? I think that's another one. Poppies.
Poppy, when you
poppies.
Poppies are they bear flowers, but the key thing is when you take them too much. When you inhale them a lot,
those ones,
you fall asleep.
But this poppy he's talking about is not this poppy as except poppies as cash crops. So you should know what this means. It means
they have there's this powder in them.
But they use it.
That when you actually inhale it too much, you fall asleep. You would just go like that.
That's not the poppy we're talking about, though. Not that poppy. Have it.
Like
anyway.
There's another poppy.
No, I don't grow poppies in my house.
Why are you asking if she grows poppies in the house?
She wants something to knock her out, so she just falls asleep. It can put you to sleep for a long time.
Anyway, right, but you see how like how it can actually change things. Look at Central America, being having the highest rate of homicide in the world, and this is due to drugs, and Afghanistan, Myanmar, to the extent that people are growing this for cash crops. Very worrying. Mommy, let me pick your final one here. Poppies. Okay, let's go, mommy.
We'll try to get high on anything.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, if shoemaker, what do you call it? Glue can let someone take me away. All right, mommy. Let's.
So the theme for this year's celebration is share facts on drugs, save lives. And I think this is in asking all of us to be a brothers keeper.
Absolutely.
Because we live in a world where they say this thing, drink water and mind your business. But it's not every time that you can mind. There are certain situations you can mind your business in. But you see a neighbor's child, you see a friend indulging themselves, taking drugs they shouldn't be taking. Talk to that friend. Especially if you have facts on what the harm that drug could cause them in the long run, you should talk to them. And I believe we should set up education because into talking about young adolescents,
that should be ongoing.
But you see, not to cut you, but talking about it, I mean, it's not like a lot of the time you even find someone that very enlightened doing it. I mean, let's take cigarettes for instance. It's boldly written on the side that is harmful. But you have people still take them. People that can read.
And people sometimes there are people you can't even speak.
But the talking is not for the educated elites who are taking cigars.
For that category, what do you do?
They know what they're getting themselves into.
I believe.
But I'm talking about when we started this and the use of tramadol campaign. All the interviews I saw were of uneducated people who worked by the beaches.
But
it's like people who weren't working, who had no education and all of that, they do not know.
You see, that's where my issue comes in, where I say people look up to people and they influence them. Because if you see these educated elites taking these things, I know of a rich man in our neighborhood who takes weed. He smokes marijuana and he says it. He's I'm good. You understand? This guy is a professor, for God's sake.
Past presidents of the United States have talked about how they used drugs back in the day.
You understand? So
I'm sure you know.
Influence. So if you're saying, fine, it's not bad, because at the end of the day, if you don't talk about it, it may come a long way to harm you yourself.
So the influence is there. Let's say this man you're talking about, he talks about he takes weed.
Right.
A young boy who looks up to this man, who does not know the effects of taking weed for a long period of time, will just take it. But if he has been educated, he has given some sort of education, and then he knows that if I take this thing, this is what will happen to me in the long run.
And he goes ahead to take it. That's his own problem.
That's his problem.
Perfect.
But if the education is not there, this man is doing it. I mean, I look up to him. I want to be like him when I grow up. Maybe when I smoke weed, I'll become like him when I grow up.
Right.
And then I don't know the effects of smoking the weed. I'll definitely do it.
So are we essentially saying that if you're educated and you're doing it, I mean, that's it? We should just wash our hands of the case?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't say. I just talked about.
You just said that.
I just talked about. We should be about this keepers. So I don't want to say to each his own. But you know this thing you're doing is bad. Why do you keep doing it?
But like Mami mentioned, I think to a larger extent that can be true, because for most of the people in this particular act don't know the hazards involved. For most of them, I want to believe they are ignorant in that space. So if they tell you the education, look, this is what can happen. Especially you that you're poor, you don't have anything. You take it 1, 2, 3, you fall ill. You don't have anything that would take you to the hospital. Yes,
because you see ads of cigars and they tell you smokers die young.
If you find yourself in that space and then you get caught, that is your own problem. Since you know the risks involved, and you still got into it.
For the uneducated, a lot of the time, I mean, they understand. Even if they don't have health complications, they end up having situations of running with the law and everything. But I'm talking about persons that are enlightened, persons that are supposed to know better. How do you reach out to them? How do you make them understand.
But this thing that you're doing will kill you.
What do you say? What language do you speak?
Just
you know that smokers die young.
Just
and
buy,
you still decided to smoke.
Some will show you where it is written. Actually,
some will actually quote the Bible for you if you don't take care. I'm serious.
So no one, everyone and you
just buy a CD of a man who has been abusing.
Oh, you think they don't know?
You think they don't know? So is it about restricting the sale of it, especially with the ones that are deemed legal, and you have people abusing them? Is it about doing something about the outlets?
Every now and then, our security agencies are chasing or raiding places where is known to be a hub for selling these things, don't they?
Yes,
but
they do.
But it's been sold out there.
And they have dogs.
So if you restrict it, you go illegally. Because they're out there. The problem is just a big one. But anyway, we're running out of time. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me with your amazing thoughts for you out there for listening as well. But if you have a comment, just leave them on Facebook, Africa Global Radio, or on Twitter, AF Global Radio. Use the hashtag, The Africa Daily Show.
Enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.